friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I have it, the perfect summer fragrance collection. All you need, 10 fragrances. You don't need tons of these, which I have too many. Quick, how many of these can you name? But there is one catch with the fragrance collection I'm gonna share with you here today. Now, it's perfect, absolutely perfect. According to AI. Yeah, so I told AI, give me the perfect summer fragrance collection, only 10 cents. And here's what it has to do. You have to be able to have some fragrances for vacation. You have to have some for work, some casual fragrances, some high heat fragrances, some date night fragrances, some compliment pullers, versatile fragrances. Everything has to be taken care of. And we're gonna be working through that perfect collection, and I'm gonna tell you what I think about it. I'm gonna rank each one of these fragrances from 1 star to 3 stars. I was thinking about doing more, but then it gets really complex, and I'm just gonna keep it very stupid. So 1, bad. 2, that's okay. 3, nice. Feel free to play along. And at the end of this video, we will judge harshly whether AI knows what it's even talking about when it comes to fragrances. Yeah, most of the time the answer is no, but we're gonna keep our minds open. And we are starting right away with the first selection for this perfect collection, Dior Homme Sport. That's not too bad of a way to start. Now here's what this one is supposed to be used for according to our robotic overlords. Please spare me when the terminating comes. Terminator, it's in our future, bros. So this one, daily wear, office, and casual daytime use. Basically, they're presenting this one as a grab spray and go fragrance. A dumb reach, you could say, the type of scent that you don't overthink, you just wear it. And to be fair, that does make sense because Dior Homme Sport has enough of that classy edge to it, that Dior Homme 2020 edge to it, you know, fresh, woody, spicy, also quite citrusy here as well, that you can pull it off in pretty much any situation you find yourself in. So the ones that they specified that it was for, casual use, work use, and just overall daily wear, yeah, pretty good. And they actually got onto my good side here because I did not make any changes to this list at all. How it spit out is how it is. As I was saying, they kind of started off on my good side here, and with this one, for those situations, those reasons, 3 stars. So we'll have to add up how many stars it gets at the end of the video, I guess. 30 is a perfect score. And how would it work out from there? Let's decide that now. I really should have thought about this beforehand. And you guys play along as well. I want to see how the score works out for all of you also. Let me know in the comments after you get done tallying those scores up. But we'll say 27 to 30 is an A. And we'll do 22 to 26 is a B. And then 18 to 21, I guess, right, would be a C. And then we'll do 14 to 17 is a D, and anything below that is an F. Which, to be fair, that's pretty lenient, I feel like. You know, it's very easy not to get an F. The next selection for this complete summer collection, which will have you covered in any situation. My contact was trying to hop out of my eye. Le Beau, Le Parfum by Paul Gaultier. They present this one for 2 situations, summer night outs and dates. And this is one where they kind of got me. They kind of got me here because when it comes to Le Beau Le Parfum, I would love to tell you, middle of summer, I'm probably going Paradise Garden or Le Beau Eau de Toilette or Flower Edition. The reason why Le Beau Le Parfum is pretty strong. It's creamy, it's sweet. It is fantastic for pulling compliments, don't get me wrong. But if we're talking about when it's really hot outside, I think that for me, one of the other 3 Le Beau fragrances is gonna get that job done. And it has enough similarities to Le Beau Le Parfum where I don't feel like I'm really missing out too much, but it's not gonna be as cloying, as potentially headache inducing, just easier to wear, more versatile, right? And their reasoning behind selecting this for those 2 occasions is as follows. Coconut, tonka, and woods with some sweetness, which is true. Maybe a little bit more than some sweetness, but it's fine. With a unique tropical vibe that's sexy, but not too heavy for warm weather. That's where I step in and go, actually, if you're wearing it in the middle of summer, it can be a little bit too much. Captain Buzzkill coming in and just making everybody feel bad. Yeah, it's me. So this is what I'm struggling with. I'm conflicted because on the one side, as I said before, I think daytime, the other Le Beau are better. We're talking summer. But they specifically point this out for date night and summer nights, 3 stars. And I feel kind of iffy about it because I'm trying to keep it where there are no half stars this time. Otherwise that would be 2.5, but 2.5 rounds up to 3. We have started off pretty strong here. The next one is a Chanel, and it is Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Maybe AI actually secretly is getting better at this. This one used for work, signature scent, and year-round fresh, which I don't know, that has nothing to do with summer, but year-round fresh. So a couple issues that I have with that. Yes, it is fresh, but it is not the freshest of the Allures. Allure Homme Sport Cologne or just Allure Homme Sport, both fresher than this one. This is more Tonka heavy, a little bit sweeter, creamier, richer. So those are my thoughts about this being a year-round freshie. Now, signature scent? Yeah, you could pretty easily make this a signature scent. Work fragrance? Maybe not as much. No, I mean, it's a big compliment puller and it is versatile. So that kind of fragrance, realistically, you can wear to work. Just don't go crazy heavy with it, right? But it's not what I think of when I think of generic work fragrance. Maybe that's not the right way to put that, generic work fragrance. You know what I mean? Like the fragrance that when you smell it, you think, that'd be great in the office. Now, the why that AI provided as to why this works in those situations is as follows. Minty, creamy Tonka freshness with exceptional versatility. It smells expensive and is effortlessly easy to use, even in high heat. For me, this one is gonna get 2 stars. It's not that it's an awful choice for summer, which is why it's not a 1 star, but I think that if you're gonna go with an Allure Homme Sport and you're trying to build out this collection and you're not using this for nighttime use, but you're using it for work and for your freshie, I think there are better choices. Now there's some really, really interesting choices coming up, including some that are maybe a little bit of a head scratcher. But before we hop to the next scent, which is a doozy, I wanna remind you guys about these codes, especially the new ones from Gift Express and Maple Prime, and those JOMASHOP codes that do change on the quarter, which means quarterly. The JOMASHOP ones only work within the JOMASHOP app, then there are also fantastic codes for the Perfume Box, Fragflex, Max Aroma, Twisted Lily, and more. The next choice is Y Eau de Parfum from YSL. Now you remember what I said over here? It kind of carries over to this one. And for this fragrance, they say it's best used for work, events, or as your freshie. Can you wear this to work? Sure, just like you can wear Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme to work. Is it maybe the first thing I think of? No, but will it work? Yes. Events? Sure, why not? I mean, it's a versatile compliment puller, so yeah. And then fresh, is it fresh? It is, but it's like sweet and fresh with an emphasis on the sweet. When it comes to YSL, why I feel like if you're talking a summertime one that you're gonna use specifically for summer, that the better choices here would have been Y Eau de Toilette, or if you could pick it up, Y Eau Fraiche, perhaps even Y Live, if you can pick it up. I know because I have heard from a lot of you over the years that Y Eau de Parfum does not work for everybody in summer. A lot of people will find this too heavy, too sweet, too loud to wear when it's really hot outside. Now, I wear this during summer, but I don't spray it on crazy because it can become too much, just like this one and this one. And there is right now a little bit of a bias towards the sweeter fragrances out there in what they've given us. And the justification for this one is as follows. They say that it is a blue fragrance done right with an emphasis on fresh apple when you first spray it on. They say with the additional woods and clean amber that it is polished and has mass appeal and ease of use. I think for me, it gets 2 stars. And the reasoning, pretty much the exact same as the reason for this one over here. If this were presented as more of like a transitional fragrance to wear during the evening and to occasionally wear when you're looking for attention, maybe that makes sense. But to present this as like, this is your fresh one, and the one that you're gonna wear to work, it's kind of like, well, better choices are out there, but it's not the worst choice. We're at the halfway point of the collection, and the selection here, L'Odyssey, Eau and Cedar. Eau and Cedar. Cedar. And this one is for ultra hot weather and beach days. So extremely different from all the other choices so far. They say that this is an airy, aquatic, with a woodsy dry down, and that it's a more mature, super fresh fragrance for intense heat. So, yeah, when it comes to this one, the performance for me is pretty bad. Now, we are talking summertime fragrances, so you would expect a lot of them to have more like average-ish performance, even though they've given us some really heavy sweet ones over here. But this is weak by any measure. The projection here is just almost non-existent. Basically, you spray it on, you can smell it a little bit initially. Very quickly, it settles down close to the skin, and then not too much else going on. It is fairly simple, but pleasant enough. You know, it's woodsy and, as they say, airy, a little citrusy, even though officially there is no citrus in the fragrance as far as the note breakdown goes. So this is another one where I'm kind of struggling with how to rank this, because for me, it just does not do the job well enough to make it part of a 10 fragrance collection where you're saying this is the 10. Like, these are it. You need nothing else. I would not put that in my 10. There's no chance. There's definitely other things out there that will do what this one does better. That being said, as a vacation fragrance, as like a slightly more mature summertime vacation fragrance, it's not awful. But for me, it has to be a 1 star. Also, I think just going to Issey Miyake, there are better Issey Miyake fragrances that you could pick for this 10 fragrance collection. I would even go with the original over this one. And that's not meant as a diss on the original. I'm just saying, like, you're being kind of cute going like, well, let's go with this one, you know, it flies under the radar a little bit. But that performance just really lets it down. After I harped about these being too strong, now I'm like, that was too weak. Selection 6, Born in Roma, Yellow Dream. Kind of an interesting selection, but it makes sense to an extent, right? They say that this one would be best for fun, casual situations, parties, and summer nights out. And actually, I think they pretty much nailed that one. To justify this one, they say it has a sweet, juicy pineapple opening with a nice, spicy ginger overtone. And they also say that it is youthful and energetic, a huge compliment puller without being overwhelming. And they got me back here. You know, they were kind of losing me here. Now they brought me back, because for those situations, this is actually a really good choice. It is that type of fragrance, like we talked about before, that is fresh and sweet. People love that. Give them a little bit of both and they go crazy for it, which is why it's such a compliment puller. But it does have a little bit more of that spiciness. And again, that sweetness that can be a bit too much if you're wearing it in the middle of the day when it's really hot outside. But for the situations that they said, perfect. So with this one, back to 3 stars. Number 7, Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum. They say this one is best for office or work use and also casual daytime use. But I would say as well that you could wear it in more formal situations during the day if you should ever find yourself in them. They say about this one that it's a fresh, smooth, modern aquatic fragrance with creamy iris and mineral freshness that is office safe and a little bit unique and interesting, as well as being people pleasing. And all of that is true. When it comes to Luna Rossa Ocean, a lot of times, you know, people like myself or others who have smelled a million fragrances might say, you know, it's not the most interesting thing on earth, but it for sure gets the job done. And in typical Prada style, it is a little bit classy, a little bit sophisticated. As they said, creamy iris in there, which does, to be fair, give it like a little unique twist in the blue fragrance game. And even though if I'm picking like my favorite of these two blue eau de parfums, Y and Luna Rossa Ocean, I would say my favorite of the two is Y. I think that for summer use and the specific situations that they're presenting here with this one, this actually works better for what they're saying, what they're suggesting. I struggle to give it a 3 just because I think maybe there are some other things out there that I would reach for, but that one is gonna be a 2.5 that gets bumped up to 3 because of rounding. We're in the home stretch. Eros Eau de Parfum is next. And this one, they're going a little generic. They're saying that you use this one for your nightclubs and bold evenings. What exactly is a bold evening compared to, say, a fun evening with this one here? I don't know. I guess this is just if you're trying to be brash, be louder. I don't know, I guess. But this is bold evenings. and nightclubs. Which I'm sure if Eros could speak, it would almost feel like an actor that's been typecast. You know, like the type of actor that's a villain in every single movie, or the type of actor that gets killed off in every single movie. Because when you talk about Eros, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, for clubs, right? That's a clubbing fragrance. That's the fragrance for clubs. That's when I would wear the Eros. If I'm going to a club and clubbing in the fragrances, then the fragrance that I club with is the Eros fragrance for clubs. They say about this one that it is a louder, minty vanilla fragrance that is fresher than the eau de toilette. Works well even when it's warm, when you want to be noticed. I'm sure some people out there would be like, fresher than the eau de toilette. But of course, fragrances come across different ways to different people, and there are absolutely some people out there that would agree with that. Let me know if you agree with it. I'm not sure if I do. I'm gonna have to wear those side by side. Now, this is one that I can get behind, and at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Like maybe if we're talking summertime, I would have gone Eros Flame, but then at the same time, Eros Flame for some people would not be as much of a clubbing scent, and that's kind of where they're, you know, pigeonholing this one. It's not a terrible choice. It's not the best choice. It is a choice, though, that I don't totally disagree with. Eros, really versatile, is compliment pulling, is easy to wear. And that's one that I'm like really just on that precipice of like moving it up to a 3, but we're just gonna keep it going for now. The 9th fragrance, Montblanc Explorer Platinum, which I did not expect to see. For this one, they say it should be used for day trips, which is very specific. I did not tell it, hey, I need a fragrance that I would wear if I were just taking a day trip, maybe like a few hours away, do a couple things and then come back. Like I need a specific fragrance for that. Nothing else will work. I need a specific day trip scent. I don't know if anybody has ever said that, but hey, day trips. Also vacation wear and casual use. Very interesting. So Explorer Platinum to me was a release that was kind of, it's fine, it's classy, it's easy to wear. It has like a little throwback style to it, you know, like a hint of a barbershop in there. And the reasoning behind this one is that it's a fresh, soapy, classy fragrance that is relaxed yet polished and perfect to take on a vacation if you want just one bottle. And I think to my own taste, that's probably the weakest part of this list is the vacation fragrances. So basically you got 2 of them, and one of them is Explorer Platinum, which for a lot of you out there is not going to conjure up images of the beach or anything like that. To be fair though, I guess there are certain situations, vacations you could take where it would work pretty well, but still not what I would think of. And then the Issey miyake over here. So yeah, not great. For this one, I'm gonna have to give it a stinky 1. I'm not a massive fan of Explorer Platinum. I think that if we're talking high heat summer vacations, that's not really something I wanna blast on. For casual use, it could be okay for that depending on where you're going, what you're doing, but I'm just not a massive fan of Explorer Platinum. Not that it's awful, but I think that for this list, coming up with 10 of the absolute best summer fragrances to end them all, gotta have a 1. And the final selection, think about it, what could it be? So many different summertime fragrances that are not here. Well, the selection is H24 Eau de Parfum. Yay. They say for this one that it is for offbeat casual use, which fair enough. And then also unique, fresh, which fair enough. And then the final reason this was selected, summer brunch. So there's your brunch fragrance. Any of you out there who were like, what's a great men's designer fragrance for brunch in the middle of summer? Now you know, it's this. Now, if you followed the channel for a while, you know I'm not a massive fan of H24. The Eau de Parfum has an interesting opening. It's green, it's fresh, it's sweet. It is definitely unique compared to the other designers up here. Quite green, which a lot of people are not gonna like. Having green fragrances is very much like hit or miss, acquired taste kind of thing. Some people love green fragrances, other people, grossed out. So it's quite aromatic, sort of leafy. And then you have that, that minerality that H24 has. You know, it's supposed to smell like steamed clothing. I said that weird, steamed clothing. They say in their justification for this choice the following: a well-crafted scent with a similar complexity to Guerlain L'Eau Medial Cool, featuring fresh citrus, aromatics, and a smooth base. Now, it does have that citrus in the opening. It is sweet, fresh, aromatic, yes, all those things. And this is another one where I'm riding this struggle bus a little bit, because part of me wants to just give it a 1 because I don't really dig H24 a whole lot. But I think the Eau de Parfum, probably the best of the bunch for me. The Eau de Parfum and also Herb V, both better than the Eau de Toilette. So I do think this is a better choice than the EDT for sure. And what they gave it, unique, offbeat, it is those things. I don't know if I'd want to wear it to brunch necessarily, but whatever. It kind of goes along with the quirkiness of this. It's so quirky, wow. So I think I'll give this one a 2, a tepid 2. So let's add all of those up, and here is the scorecard. Honestly, a little better than I was expecting, just because some of the stuff it has spit out in the past is just terrible. This one has some solid choices where it's like, yes, that one is actually perfect for the situation that you're pointing out. And then some of the other ones, I'm like, you probably got about 50 to 75 other choices that would be a lot better. But you guys let me know, how did you rank this out? How did these score for you? Good, bad, indifferent? I tried to be not overly harsh, but at the same time, to give it just a little bit of leeway. So kind of like trying to be somewhere in the middle, I guess. Slightly harsh, but not overly brutal. My voice cracked, I'm going through puberty. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Thank you for also thinking in your minds how you would rank these, rate these out as well. Stay safe out there, guys. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.